Hi, how you doing? I'm Tim Carter. I had a little technical problem here just a few minutes ago. I was welcome to the live stream, by the way. And I'm sorry, my hair's a little messed up. It's a long story. um, yeah, I'm not one of those hairspray guys. I know I know another home improvement talent that guy's just like perfect. Anyway, I'm the opposite. All right, so uh, oh my gosh. So right before the stream went live, I hit some button on my dashboard and the whole tab disappeared. It's like 3 minutes ago and I'm frantic, like, oh my gosh, how do I get back there? And I just barely figured it out in time. So anyway, I'm here. I'm glad you're here. And today is going to be an interesting day. I've got some new products to show you. And but first, and we're going to talk about continental glaciation. I know it's a crazy topic. It's Friday. I thought I would. Oh, we don't know who they are, so we don't care. Don't bother me while I'm on my live stream. So we're going to talk a little bit about continental glaciation. I'm a geologist too, and I just thought it was a Friday. Let's just kind of sit back and have some fun. Let's talk about something. I'd like to talk about things that interest you, but I don't know what they are. You have to tell me in the chat window. So since I don't know what you want to talk about, then we're going to have to talk about what I want to talk about for now. So if you've got a question, if you want to change the topic, do so. But here's what we're not going to talk about religion. We're not going to talk about politics. We're not going to talk about the illness, even though they're doing crazy things in Australia. So anyway, but first, I've got some really cool products I'm going to show you in just a minute they just came today. I told you as soon as the products show up, I'm going to show you. And these are really interesting first aid kits. But let's thank today's sponsor, Stain Solver. Stain Solver, it's an oxygen bleach. You just mix it with warm or hot water. It cleans anything that's water washable. It's that simple. And it gets out really deep stains. It'll get out stains that dry cleaners can't get out. It'll get rid of pet accidents, pet odors. It's really a remarkable product. Both ingredients are made in the United States, and I own the company with my wife. So it's not some product we're hawking for somebody else. All right. So it's really a good product. Just go to stainsolver.com, look at the videos, and that should convince you that this is a pretty amazing product. And if you have any questions, just ask me. Simple as that. Okay. Big shout out to Becky. I don't know if you're here, Becky. Thanks so much for the ice cream cone. That's what I put in the chat in the top chat. So thanks so much. I appreciate that. Becky, she bought me an ice cream cone, and the link, if you want to do it, the link is right up there, and you should see it even when you watch the stream at another time. So, without further ado, let's talk a little bit about this continental glaciation. And if you have any questions about anything about your home, roofing, concrete, foundation, tile work, how to remodel a kitchen, bathroom, plumbing, whatever it might be, just type your question in the chat. I'll do my best to answer it. So, you may not know this. Let me get a drink a second. Wow, that's pretty hot. We're gonna let that cool down. What if I told you? Here's the trouble. Oh, you're welcome, Becky. Thank you. Thank you. It was such a surprise to get that this morning. I always go and see my orders, and I saw it was an ice cream cone. I thought, oh my gosh. And then I immediately recognized your name. All right, so here's the trouble for the average person. And I totally understand this because this happens in any other discipline. In other words, I'm like totally in the dark about anything having to do with, let's just say, oil refining. I've never studied oil refineries. I've never worked at one. I just know they have catalytic crackers, and that's how the oil gets made into different things. All right. But you might not have any idea about what's really gone on in the past. And because I know what's gone on in the past, and then I see that it's being hidden from you, then I start to I start to shake my head and go, why would they hide that information from you or make it very hard for you to find it? Right? And what I'm talking about is continental glaciation. So, what if I told you, and I know you're going to find this really hard to believe. I don't know if you live in the United States or not, but what if I told you that just 15,000 years ago, which you're going to think, wow, Tim, that's a long time. No, well, it is and it isn't. All right. Geologically, it's like a blink of an eye. 15,000 years ago, here in New England, where I live, like where I'm sitting right now, there would have been about 3,000, maybe 4,000 feet of ice on top of me. And that ice covered all of New England. It extended out to the edge of the continental shelf. The oceans were 400 feet shallower than they are now. Okay, think about that. So the sea level had dropped 400 feet. The ice extended all the way down to New York City. There are hummocks and hills on the edges and within New York City that were caused by the glaciers. There's glacial striations. That's what the thumbnail photo of today's live stream is about. That was a photograph I took here in New Hampshire. It shows right in the center of the photo this dish-shaped glacial striate, just a groove that the enormous weight of the glacier carved in the granite. All right, they're all over the place here. That ice extended across a lot of New York. So the Finger Lakes of New York, those Finger Lakes that are in upstate New York, those were carved out by the glacier. The ice went across a lot of Pennsylvania, covered a lot of Ohio, about 2/3 of Ohio, a lot of Indiana, a lot of Illinois, the whole upper Midwest, went all the way back up to the North Pole. All right, this ice sheet, 3,000, 4,000 feet thick. All right, so pretty amazing when you think about it. Here in New Hampshire, I so wish you were here. You can actually see if you go to Google Maps and you pull up the state of New Hampshire, and then you may not have ever done this in Google Maps before, but down in the lower left-hand corner, they've got some, maybe help if I had the microphone in the right place. You probably haven't been able to hear me. Jeez, oh, Pete, what a rookie mistake. So if you if you go to Google Maps, pull up New Hampshire, and then in the lower left-hand corner, you've got some options and on the left-hand column about how to view the map. You could be like the road map, you could satellite. Well, one of the options is terrain, and that basically shows the topographic map. So click that and kind of zoom in, zoom out in New Hampshire. And what you're going to discover is that the south or southeast facing part of every hill and every mountain in central and northern New Hampshire has got a very steep face. It'll be darker on the map, whereas the northwest or north side of a mountain or a hill is very light colored. And the reason why is the huge continental glaciation was basically moving from the northwest basically towards the southeast, or from the northwest to the southeast. All right, so what happens is it would ride up on the mountain or a hill, and then when it got to the top, it would start to pluck rocks off, and that's what created the steeper face. And I actually have it right here next to me out my window. I wish you could see it. I have a cliff face that's about 90 feet high. It's almost straight up and down, that was created by this continental glacier. All right, so you might be saying, well, Tim, big deal. So what about the continental glaciers? Yawn. Oh, big deal. Well, all right, let's put a couple more dots together. What if I told, okay, so back about a week or so ago, remember we talked, you might not have been here, but you can go watch that live stream. It's about Lake Bonneville. So that entire period of time for 20,000, 30,000 years, before now, it was very wet, a lot of precipitation, colder, and there was so much rain and so much snow melt that where the Great Salt Lake is, I mean, it filled a lake up 1,000 feet deep. It's called Lake Bon. It's ancient Lake Bonneville, which is why they call the Bonneville Salt Flats. All right, so this water was everywhere. I mean, there were glaciers out west in the Sierra Nevadas. Up in Glacier National Park was completely covered with ice. Anyway, what if I told you in the past 2 million years it happened 4 times? All right, think about that. All right, so this is a rhetorical question. How much climate change does it take to create that much ice and melt it 4 times? A lot. All right. Well, I'm sure you've connected the dots. In other words, supposedly us, man, we didn't supposedly start causing problems until, I don't know what, 140 years ago, the Industrial Revolution, where we started to burn lots of coal. So in other words, that whole argument about us causing the global warming it's just a joke. I hate to say it, and I'm not trying to pick a fight with you. I'm just trying to tell you, you need to look at the bigger picture, which they're not showing you on purpose. All right. So what you need to know is climate change is real. It absolutely is real. I'm not trying to make a political statement. We're talking geology here. Climate change is real. It's just that we as man have really very little to do with it. All right. So it's just, and the data in the rocks shows that to be a fact. So anyway, if you have any questions about your house, whatever it might be, now's the time to ask it. Go ahead. Let's get the chat going, because that's what keeps the live stream really alive, is when I'm answering questions. And that's what I love to do. That's why I'm doing these live streams. I will also share, I had a little fun this afternoon. My youngest daughter is really gotten pretty deep into making pottery. She's all self-taught, and she's doing a remarkable job. Here's some of her early pieces. Here's like an early, it's really kind of beautiful. It's a really kind of beautiful shade of blue. I'm trying to get the glare off. So it's just this one happens to be for a plant, because you can see there's a drainage hole in the bottom. So if you wanted to put a small plant, this is a decorative pot for that. Here's kind of a really neat bowl she gave me. This is kind of a neat bowl. And I like this bowl a lot. And blue happens to be my favorite color. She happens to know that. So anyway, so I'll tell you a couple of quick stories. So she's trying to get a bunch of stuff ready. She's really behind the 8 ball for Christmas for her friends. And she's, she needed some help. So this afternoon, so I'm learning about pottery. Actually, it's funny, about 3 weeks ago, I tried to make something and it was a horrible nightmare on the potter's wheel. I mean, I looked at what she would do, and I've watched a few videos and I thought to myself, how hard could that possibly be? I mean, the wheel's spinning, you just put your hands down there and squeeze this, do that, and it looks beautiful. No, it's so hard. I mean, I got the thing out of, she centered it up for me, and then I'm messing around and I get it off center, and the thing just, it just blew apart. It was horrible. I need so much practice. So we got me away from the potter's wheel and started to do other things. Well, today, thanks, Will. We only did that one time, maybe twice. So Will's asking, great read on your book. So that's not really the book. That was just, that was a chapter that's going to be in this upcoming volume. And I just thought I would share that with you, because that's really more about me. And plus, that story's been on the internet for, wow, almost 10 years, I think. So you say, how many times did you go skinny dipping in the condo pool, ever get caught? So I would say maybe we went swimming down there 2 or 3 times. We never got caught. Pretty amazing that we didn't get caught. But we're doing it 3 o'clock in the morning when everybody else is sleeping. So it was a lot of fun. So anyway, you have to go to yesterday's live stream. I think it was yesterday. if not yesterday, the day before, look in the chat and you'll see the link to that story that Will's talking about. Or you could just go to Google right now or DuckDuckGo and type Tim Carter summer sleepover or summer sleepovers, plural, and you'll find it. So that'll help you. Anyway, I don't know where I was at. Oh, pottery. So she needed some help today. Once again, if you've got a question about your house, just put it in the chat. That's why I'm here. Happy to help you. So she needed some help, and it's really interesting. There's so much about pottery I don't know, and there's a really good chance you didn't know it either. So the pottery, the clay, it can be a little grainy. Not all clays are the same. And when she makes a pot, when you first make something, it's on this little platter, and it's really wet and soft, and you cannot touch it. I mean, it's soft, so you have to kind of set it aside. And I have to ask her. She probably lets it sit for a day or two or three, and then she can take a wire and she can cut it off that little board. So the point is, and then when it gets a little harder, she can turn it upside down. She can shape it a little bit. But I discovered today that she's got this very special sponge fine diamond sanding pad, and you have to wet sand the bottom of each piece to make it nice and smooth, like a piece of glass. And then you also have to sand the rim, like up here, like of this rim on any cup or bowl or whatever it might be, because there could be really tiny, small, rough clay particles. And it's really easy to do. So I sanded about, I don't know, 20, maybe 40 pieces for her. All kinds of different things, cups, shallow bowls, some really beautiful things that she's made. And tomorrow, I believe I'm going to help her glaze all of it. And I got to experiment and learn how to glaze about 4 days ago, and I'll talk about that in another live stream. But anyway, it's so that's what I was doing about 2 hours ago. A lot of fun, and of course, it's a day, afternoon. I hope she'll never forget. The old man, helping her with her pottery. So I'm lucky that I get to be able to do that with my kids. So anyway, all right, JB, and remember, if you've got a question, do what JB did. Put it in the chat. I don't have ESP. I can't just do it, telepathically. And some other people might be able to. I can't. JB says, I'm adding split level house that is sinking. Oh, that's no good. A 25 by 18 area. What would be the best solution? The foundation is a slab. Well, that's a great question. We're going to answer it right now. Boy, that's still pretty hot. Ooh. Got a little cold here. Real blustery today here in central New Hampshire. Oh, wait a minute. I got to turn the light on. All right. Sorry about that. Very blustery. It's going to be, it was only like 30, 31 all day. To me, it's a hot chocolate day. All right. JB. Step one is I would hire, and I'm happy to give you a link for it. I could actually do that right here in just a minute. I would hire a structural engineer to come out. And before you hire him or have them come out, you need to vet this person on the phone to make sure they're a foundation expert, because structural engineering has got all kinds of disciplines. Meaning there are structural engineers that all they work on are skyscrapers and bridges, and and maybe they only design trusses. Well, you need a structural engineer that pretty much all day long works with foundations, and then that's the person you want out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find a link for you right now, and to where you can get some free bids from some local ones. They'll give you free quotations. And you can't beat that. So I'm trying to pull up this list. Here we go. And I will be able to give you a link here, and you can use this link. Just go to the form, fill it out, and want to make sure I get the right one. There we go. And here we go. So, JB, I want you to go to that link, fill out the form, and you're going to start getting called. You know, you can do it today, but you probably won't get called until Monday or Tuesday. And with the holidays, who knows what's going to happen. But the last person, I mean, when you have a foundation issue like that, when you have something sinking, I'd like to also know, can you just tell me the state where you live? That would be kind of helpful. Um, Although it can happen anywhere. In fact, I'll tell you a quick story. So, anyway, let me tell you the story, and then you'll see why it really doesn't make any difference where you live. A pretty good friend of mine. Hi, Steve. No problem. Sorry that you're late. You don't have to apologize. No, we talked about the Continental Glaciation already. You missed it. It's okay. You're going to be able to watch it. I didn't want to spend a whole bunch of time on it. It's a fun topic. Actually, this spring here in New Hampshire, I'm going to lead a field trip. So if you live close by and you want to go on this field trip, it's an all-day field trip. I'm going to, I'll let you know more about it. I'm going to do it before the wretched black flies show up. Okay, Florida. Oh, okay. So JB, 72 right now. Thanks a lot. Have to rub it in. I'll make sure to remember that when it's July, and here I'll go, oh, boy, it's hot here today in New Hampshire. It's 79, and our dew point is, oh, it's so humid. Our dew point's 59 degrees. And you'll just be a puddle on the sidewalk down there in Florida. So hot and humid. All right, here's the story. Don't worry, Steve. If you need stuff about glaciation, we'll go over it again. All right. A really good friend of mine, his name's Ed. He's an attorney in Cincinnati. And he had bought a new home from a pretty big builder. And this, I'm not going to say who it was. This big builder would typically buy big pieces of ground, like farmland, bring in the big, yellow machines, grades, cut down the hills, fill in the valleys, blah, 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 to shape it so it's a nice subdivision. Well, it just so happens the lot my friend bought had been filled, but here's the problem. It just, you almost can't believe this. I mean, you've maybe been a victim of really bad workmanship, or you've uncovered some in your home that was done by somebody else that you didn't hire. So it happens in every scale, every profession. I mean, there can be bad dam builders, but anyway, the idiots, and this just goes to show you the autopsy on this situation shows that there was no quality control in place when they were basically shaping the ground. In other words, the big builder just told his grading guys, okay, go out here. Here's the plan. Make this happen. And they went, okay, all right. And I'm sure they were subcontractors. So they get, the less time they spend, the more money they make. So anyway, there was a pretty significant valley underneath my friend's house. They pushed all these trees and stuff into it, and then they covered it up with mud. And compacted it, of course. Well, over time, it started to sink. All right. I'm going to get to you in just a second, JB. And he called me one day and he said, he said, I've got some really serious problems with my house. And I said, what could happen? Well, how serious could it be? He goes, well, there's a crack outside that runs from the foundation all the way up to the roof. And at the roof, it's about 5 inches wide. I was like, oh my gosh, that's serious. So he sent me a photo and I couldn't believe it. I rushed out there. I get out to his house and I go down to his basement. And what's happening, I mean, this is crazy. The whole outside of his foundation is sinking into the ground. But the inside posts that support the I-beam are not going down at the same rate. They're going down slower. And the main I-beam in Ed's house was like twisted. The it scared the heck out of me. I thought, I don't even think I would live here. It was bad. All right, so it can happen anywhere. So what's the lesson in that story? And then JB, I'm going to answer you. So the lesson is, if you're going to buy a newer home, like in a subdivision, you can. Takes a lot. Most people will not do this because they're busy. The list of excuses as to why they won't do it is a mile long. All right, I don't want to make anybody feel bad. But what you can do, you can go get the before image of what the land looked like, the topo map, and you can learn how to. You can watch a video on YouTube that teaches you how to read one, so you can see where the valleys are. I'm not going to explain it all to you. I can read them with a blindfold on, and then you can see where the hills are, the valleys. All right, so you could then overlay that topo map with the new plat map and see if the lot you're thinking about buying used to be a valley. I don't know about you. I'm not buying a valley lot. All right. I'm not doing it. I don't trust, whereas if the lot you bought used to be a hill and they cut 15 feet off the hill, I'm buying that lot because that's probably going to be very, very solid, very, very good soil. All right. So that could have been avoided. Now, back to JB. So you've got a split level that's sinking. You're gonna fill out that form. I put the link in there. You're gonna get a structural engineer out. And the trouble in Florida is that you have a lot of what we call karst topography. That's Karst, and it's a German. It's a German word from a region in Germany where they have a lot of limestone and they have a lot of caves and they have a lot of sinkholes. So I suspect, my gut feeling is, you're on the edge of, or your house is on a sinkhole that's finally started to drop, and so that's a bad deal. The structural engineer may, and you may be able to find this out. You may be able to just do a little bit of digging to see the geology in your like a 3 square mile area, and see if there's any other people who have suffered from sinkholes. So that's what I think the problem is, and it's an ugly problem. Is all I can tell you. I can't wait to hear what happens. To be honest with you. So, yeah, exactly. You're coming over. I know. I'd like to travel too, but I'm not traveling. I watched a video today that my wife sent me. That was done. It was shot in Australia. I don't know if it was shot yesterday. I don't know where. The people in Australia have run off the flipping rails, man. What's going to happen is there's going to be a revolution. I mean, I'm just telling you. So, because somebody, I saw that we'll just touch on this because this even goes to you if you hire a contractor that's doing bad work, because on a bigger job. And so for a while, you may tolerate it. And you may just go, okay, we'll be able to fix that, or what. You're making excuses. It doesn't matter. One of my favorite phrases, it doesn't matter. But at some point, you feel enough pain. You come home from work that day, or you see something and you go, that's it. That's it. And you have a tough love conversation with the builder. You let your feelings be known. And it could get so bad that you fire him. That happened to me. I should tell that story. So it's really a good story. But the point I'm trying to make is, at what point? I read a story a long time ago, and it was the reporter was interviewing somebody who lived in Hungary after World War II, when the communists took over Hungary, and the reporter asked this person, said, what does it take to go down to the town square with a rock in your hand? Because the reporter hadn't done this, but the person that was being interviewed had done this, and throw that rock through the window of the town hall. I mean, think about that. Would you right now go down to your town hall and throw a brick or a rock through the window? Well, of course not. but you might get mad enough one day to do that. All right. So that day is coming here in both America and it's starting to happen, I think, in other countries across the world. All right. So we're living in a really strange time, is all I can tell you. Very, very interesting. And the winner's going to write the history. So we have to make sure we're the winners in this. All right. So the winners always write history. The losers don't write history. They lost. All right. Yeah, it is Matt over there. Yeah, exactly. Camps. Yes. Yes. Ladies, if you email me, Steve, I know you've never done this. If you reach out to me, I will send you this thing. I think you'll really enjoy watching it. So that's all I'll say. That's exactly right. There's only so much people can take. All right. So that comes down to your home. So what problem do you have in your house right now that's just driving you crazy? I mean, what, if there's got to be one or two things in your home where you grumble each day and you go, if I had a magic wand and I could wave this magic wand, I would, and then I want you to fill in the blank. Just type it in the chat. What is it that you want changed about your house? What is it about your house that drives you crazy? There's like the house I live in here now. I didn't build this house. I hate this house. I hate everything about this house that I live in. I would, if I could afford it and get away with it, I would blow this thing up and start over. Actually, I wouldn't, because I don't like the lot. This house was only supposed to be a transitory house. We were only supposed to live here 2 years. All right. So anyway, the lot's too steep. I don't like how steep the lot is. Yeah. I don't know that we have camps here in the U.S. I don't know about that. Let me know where they are, where you've seen them. I'm unaware of it. Could be. I'm unaware. Okay, and we're not trying to make this the illness show. We don't want to do that. The illness live stream. Steve, let's take that off list, man. I'm serious. Just email me. We can chat tomorrow, whatever. So anyway, whatever problem you have with your home, let me know. Do you need an update on the young woman in I have a hard time saying it, Schenectady, New York? Well, it's a little too early. Let's hope she's not seriously thinking about starting that dormer project, because I just have a feeling it's going to be a heavy snow year. But I could be wrong. I just a feeling I have. And one of the things I told this young woman yesterday, she did a consult call with me. I'm going to say she wants to build a dormer. No, she is going to build the dormer in her house. She's never done it before, but she's going to do it, and she's going to succeed. I already know that. But what was interesting is I told her right at the end of the call I said, one of the things you have to be aware of right now before you start is that every aspect of the job is going to take you 4 times longer than it would take me. And I just said, that's what I said, because I not only do I have the experience, but I've got all the tools. I know what I'm doing. I'm not second guessing myself. And I just said, that's why every hour that, and when I say the word you, I'm talking to her. I said, every hour that you invest in getting educated about every step of the way is going to save you 4 hours. So she understood that. She got it right away. And so that's why I told her, if I was her, because she can't find anybody to the job, she's going to do it herself. I said, I would just take the whole winter and just, I would say I was just practice. But, you can't practice by doing it. I said, you have to do it in your head. You actually, and I even recommended to her, you actually write it down. In other words, I know it sounds crazy, but write down. I mean, something as simple as this. So think about this. She's just building a regular shed dormer, not one with a pitched roof. It's the simplest dormer to build. And she's got to build a wall on top of the existing exterior wall that's about 4 feet high, maybe 4 feet 3 inches. I don't know. It doesn't matter, but it's right around there. She probably has never even laid out a wall. Like, how do you build that wall? Well, good for her. Guess what? There's lots of videos on YouTube that show exactly how to do it. All right. So she's got to be able to do that. Now, the cool thing is, some of this she could be doing now. She could actually, like I had even told her, I said, I would have that wall built. It would be laying on the attic floor. You're not going to open this whole thing up and then start to build the wall. I mean, there's all kinds of work that she can be doing and getting done before she actually gets the sawzall out and cuts through the roof and takes the roof out. All right. So, and even that's an art. You know, I'm sure at some point I'm going to reach out to her and say, you're not going to try to cut all that and let it all drop at once, are you? She'll get killed. It's heavy, so you got to cut just sections at a time out. So anyway, all these little tips that, and that's why I like doing the live streams. And it's also why I sit back and think about this sometimes and I go, I've been so lucky, and you're the same way in your line of work, whatever you have done, that you have accumulated so much knowledge, and it's just all up in here, and you need to get it out of there, or in my case, I'm trying to do it in my videos, my columns, and these live streams. All right, so enough of that. I see a lot of things happening here in the chat. Jack says, what do you think about conditioned crawl space? I don't know what crawl space is. I don't. Oh, crawl space. There you go. I see it. They're great. In fact, it's really the best way to go. So a condition here. Let's explain what a conditioned crawl space is. Let's explain what it isn't. So the old-fashioned crawl spaces were these horrible, dank places where you just really didn't want to go into. I mean, the soil was kind of dank. There were spider webs everywhere. There could be creatures in there. It's just horrible. All right. So the next step up from that are crawl spaces that at least have a vapor barrier, a heavy sheet of plastic over the soil, which keeps them somewhat dry. But you can have water get into the crawl space and sit on top of the plastic, and it could be horrible, yucky. Yeah. All right. So the ultimate crawl space is what Jack is asking about, and I happen to like them a lot. It's a conditioned crawl space. So this is one where the homeowner has gone to all kinds of things outside, probably put in a linear French drain. You can watch that streaming video, in my shopping cart. There's no chance of water that's getting into the crawl space. The side walls have been insulated. There's a really good chance the floor has been insulated. You can put pea gravel down, level it out, put solid foam insulation on it. The professional companies have these giant, huge rolls of plastic that they roll out. They in one giant piece, they take this plastic and it covers the floor, goes up the walls, they seal it. And then what happens is this crawl space, it's well lit. They put some lights in, and long story short, the crawl space becomes very nice. And then they actually shoot a little bit of heat into it. All right. So, you might, you don't try to make it 72 degrees, but you might put some conditioned air into it so that the crawl space is always 55 or 60. So that's what a conditioned crawl space is. Very nice. They're good. I like them. I highly recommend them. All right. Becky, she's not scared, is she? Becky, I don't know who she is. So I probably missed that. I don't know who. Oh, I know who you're talking about. You're talking about the young woman who's going to be building the dormer. No, she's not afraid. In fact, I asked her, "Are you afraid of getting up on the existing house roof?" Nope, not afraid at all. Okay, I said, because that's the most dangerous part. She says, "No problem. I know what to do. I know how to be safe." I said, "Okay, great." So she has no fear whatsoever, which is kind of a good thing. She has instead of fear, this young woman has a very healthy respect for how difficult the job is, and which then allows her to step back and take the time to get educated. So that's a good thing. She's not just jumping in head first into this and hoping everything comes out all right. All right. Will's got a question. Oh, Will wants to know, will my show about converting analog tape to digital media be available to download or only live tomorrow? Oh, guess what? It's not a show. It's just a column. You can go to I loaded the column already because I was building the newsletter this morning. I'm almost finished with it. So I have to build pages sometimes. So just go to the website while we're talking right now. And if you hit the Q&A navigation button, that takes you to the giant list of columns, and they're in descending order of the date they were created. So I would think it's going to be one of two, either the first or the second, because I can't remember if I created. I got a really funny page I created this morning. It's going to cost, some people are going to get upset. All right, that's okay. Because many, many more people are going to laugh, and I'm trying to get people to laugh more. So I created a page about, is God a woman? All right, so I've got pretty much conclusive evidence that God is a woman. All right, so I know we're not talking religion, we're not talking politics, we're not talking illness. Anyway, so Will, go to the website right now and then get that URL, and please paste it. Please paste it in the chat for everyone, please. I appreciate if you would do that. All right. So Becky's got a question. Hey Tim, I cannot find the water shuttle from the street to the house. I swear I've looked everywhere. It's probably covered. Yeah, you're going to have to call the city. There's not a doubt. If you have a lawn, a front lawn, somebody buried it. It's there. The water people, the water department knows exactly how far they are from the curb. Generally speaking, they've got the metal detectors. They'll come out and uncover it for you. So call them up. The main shutoff in the house is leaking. Okay, so boy, that's a great. So what you would love to do, this will save you some money, Becky, is it would be awesome if you could rent that press tool, and I'm assuming you've got copper in your home, where the water line comes through the wall, and hopefully the plumber gave you enough pipe that while the city's there, they will, you say, could you find it? Could you just shut the water off just for a few minutes? And then you cut out the old ball valve and you press in a new one. I mean, the trouble is you're not going to be able to do it that quick. I don't know that the city will wait for you, but this is a great opportunity to use one of those press ball valves that, and you saw. I don't know if you saw that video I did on Thanksgiving Day or not, but go to the website and watch it. Anyway, I actually show you the type of valve. You just need a bigger one. All right. Isaac. Sorry, did you answer my post above? I might have missed it. Isaac, I don't even see. Let me go back up. I don't even know if I see a question from you at all. Isaac, I'm not seeing anything. So I don't see anything. All right. So Becky, I hope that answered your question. Yeah, those main. So you want to put in a new ball valve and on your main water shutoff, and you won't have problems again. If you have to call a plumber out, the good news is it should take the plumber less than an hour to do. So here's all I request is that if the plumber's coming out to do that, if the water line, so look at this, if the water line comes in the wall and then goes up, you'll put the ball valve here and then go up a little bit farther and have him put in a T-fitting with a boiler drain so that you can drain down the system all the way almost to the ball valve. That would really be helpful. It's only the boiler drain and the T couldn't be $10. So I hope that makes sense. So they're going to put it, and the ball valve is only going to be, I just paid for a 1/2-inch ball valve here in New Hampshire, a pressed ball valve. I just paid $12. So a 3/4-inch one might be, I don't know, $16. So you couldn't have $30 in parts and not 1 hour's worth of labor, and you'll have a brand new shutoff. That's what I would do. But just make sure it's a ball valve. Okay, man, I'm taking some heat today. I don't see I don't see any question from Isaac. So I don't know where it would be. I answered JB's. I answered. Um, so let's see. Uh, I Steve, I did tell you that the video that I saw, the Australian, was about the camps. Yes. So if that's your question, so yes, that's the that was the what that video was about. Anyway, Isaac, you better ask again. So the video, was she scared? So Becky, I'm really confused. I'm sorry. I'm having a hard time today, I guess. I don't know. I hope I don't know what the video you're talking about. I'm sorry. Help me out. Just give me a little bit more detail. It's easy for me to get distracted. All right. So what did I also want to tell you? What's coming up? Oh, I should have shared this with you earlier. I wanted to show you what came today. We're going to have like a, there's product videos. I can't believe people get excited about this, but they're opening. They actually set up a video camera and they show opening a box of a product. So it's going to be a little tough to do here, but I got this morning, these came. So this is a first aid kit from MyMedic. So if you go to mymedic.com, so it's got a loop here, and then it's got it's got the two of these things that you could put like on your belt, but that's a pretty big belt. And they also snap off, so anyway, so let's open it up. So these are like for this one particularly is called, this is called the Construction Medic Mini. So if you are a contractor or you're doing some work around the home, this might be a really good first aid kit for you to have. Let's take a look and see what's inside. I'm going to hold it up and show it to you. All right, so here we go. So you can see it. So it's got some scissors to cut bandages. It's got a big tweezers, I'm sure, for getting a splinter out. This thing way over here is a whistle. I don't know why you would need a whistle on a construction site. And then this is a little tube of liquid skin. All right, so that helps. And then this pocket over here is filled with different bandages, rubber gloves, antiseptic wipes, all kinds of stuff. And then here's a little squeeze bottle of super wash. It says wound wash and eye wash solution topical. All right, so all that comes in this little kit. So this one is called the Construction Medic Mini, and it's at mymedic.com. Now, it looks like a really handy first aid kit. And back in my day, I was kind of silly. We did not do it. So then they have all different types of first aid kits at this website, MyMedic. Now, here's a much bigger one they sent. Look at how thick that thing is. All right, this is a much bigger one. Let's take a look at this one. You're going to be impressed with this. I opened this up before I went live. I'm here to tell you that there's so much stuff in this one. I'm pretty convinced you could do surgery out in the field with this one. All right, so this one is just filled with stuff. There's all kinds of, you name it, this thing is even filled with things. And you can go to the website and it'll give you a complete listing of everything it's got in it. Scissors. I mean, this thing probably has a scalpel in it. All right, even. I mean, something, I'm telling you, this has got so much stuff in it. I can't believe it. I'm pretty certain you could do surgery out in the field. All right, not brain surgery. So these are from MyMedic. You see that? MyMedic. So just go to mymedic.com, and this one is called the MyFak. So MYFAK, MyFak. All you do is, once you go to mymedic.com, go to their first aid kit section. They have different categories, but go to the first aid kits, and you're going to see both of these. They look pretty amazing. I am pretty impressed with them. And when I got there, they're having a huge sale right now. I mean, I don't get paid to do this. They just send me this, and then I always make my decision whether I'm going to share it with you, whether it's here on the live stream or whether it's in my column. Because if something's bad, I'll sometimes tell you it's bad. Well, I'll always tell you it's bad because I don't want you to get misled by somebody else. And these two things I like a lot. I would buy them. And I'm here to tell you they right now they have huge savings because of Christmas. So if you're in need of a first aid kit or you think somebody needs one, head off to mymedic.com and look at the first aid kits. Some really, really good pricing right now. All right, let's see what is in the chat. So, all right. So here, Steve's getting out that one. I asked if you didn't choose to live in Hampshire. I'm telling you what, just so you know, YouTube is doing something funny because I'm not seeing these questions. All right. And I mean, I can go all the way back up to the first one, but I'm not seeing this one, Steve. Okay. So Steve asked, if you didn't choose to live in New Hampshire, where would you live in the US? Well, so that's an interesting question because it involves a lot of things because it involves it involves the taxation because all the states here in the United States they tax differently. All right, it would involve all kinds of things. Most definitely the weather. All right, so and for me, luckily, my wife and I are the same. We have this. We're perfectly aligned with the type of weather we like, and that's why we moved to New Hampshire because it doesn't get very hot and humid here. We do get some bad days. We get some 90-degree days with a dew point 70. All right, but we don't get them for 3 months at a time. We might get a 3-day stretch. All right, so most houses up here do not have air conditioning. All right, so to answer your question, here in the United States, so what I just said about the weather automatically eliminates living anywhere south of the Mason-Dixon line. All right, so that means like taking a line through the center part of the eastern United States. All right, so in other words, I would never live anywhere from like Tennessee, Virginia, anywhere south of that. I would never. You couldn't pay me to live in California. All right. You couldn't pay me to live in Oregon or Washington. All right. No flipping way. All right. So now that leaves the upper Midwest and New England. All right. So upper Midwest, same thing. It can get really hot and horrible up there in the summer. Just go look at the weather in Minneapolis, Minnesota. It can get pretty miserable. So, upper Michigan, they have weather just like New Hampshire. So I might maybe consider upper Michigan, which would be the upper part of the lower peninsula. Because Michigan's considered two parts, the upper peninsula and the lower peninsula. So maybe the upper peninsula I might live, but I'd probably just move to another part of New Hampshire. I think I've told you this before. I've traveled to all of the 47 states here in the lower part of the United States, except for one, that's North Dakota. And in my opinion, the second most beautiful state is New Hampshire. California is the first, but I would never live in California for a host of reasons. But New Hampshire, Steve, I just wish you could come over here. I wish you could see how beautiful it is. It's absolutely stunning. And what's unique about New Hampshire is it's a very small state. And from my home, which is in the center of the state, I can be on the veranda of the Mount Washington Hotel drinking an iced tea in just an hour and 20-minute drive. And there's not any traffic. I mean, it's not bumper to bumper traffic. I can get in my car and tomorrow morning, and in an hour and 25 minutes, I could be standing in the Atlantic Ocean. All right. So, all right. I know New Hampshire's beaches are not like Cancun. It's not like going to Aruba. I get it. You know what? But if it's a nice, hot, sunny day in the summer, and I want that cool ocean breeze, and I want to look at that ink blue water, I could do it in an hour and 20 minutes. I can be to 100 different amazing hiking trails in less than 30 minutes from my house. Crazy. All right. So I have 4 amazing hiking trails that are 5 minutes from my house. It's Hamlin Park, Hamlin. So look that up online. Hamlin Park in Meredith, New Hampshire. Amazing little park. Hardly anybody goes there. So I'm staying in New Hampshire probably. That's all right, Becky. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about confusing me. It's easy. It can happen easily. All right, Isaac, I see that here, I'm seeing your question, and I'm going to answer it right now. And Steve, I'm going to get to you too. This is finally cooling down enough to drink. Isaac, we backed out of a new build in Southern Ontario because of mold issues in the framing from rain. Many of the other homes from the same builder have that same issue. The inspector in the area is passing these homes. Why is this not on their radar? All right, so you didn't have to back out of the deal. I'm sorry to hear this. This is a classic case of, I just wish that more people knew about me, or you had come to my website, because I've over the last 10 years, I've written maybe at least 3 columns about rain-soaked framing lumber. You can go to my website and read them now. All that had to happen was, here's all that had to happen, is once the house is under roof and no more rain's getting inside, then you just go inside with you, and if you want to use chlorine bleach and water, go ahead. Doesn't matter. Smells. It's going to discolor the wood. Who cares? The wood's getting all covered up. You could easily go in and spray all of the lumber that's got the mold on it, and you're going to kill it. All right. And here's the thing. Once the mold, this is a great opportunity to educate. Let's talk about fire. Everybody, I think people can relate to fire. So you need 3 things to make a fire, right? It's called the triangle, the fire triangle. What are the 3 things? Come on. You know what they are, right? Right? You need fuel, you need oxygen, and you need heat. Those 3 things in the right whatever, you're going to have a fire. Mold is the same thing. Mold and mildew. The mold mildew triangle. 3 things. What are the 3 things? You need mold spores, you need food, and you need one other thing. What is it? Can you think what it is? Come on. Water. All right. So there are mold spores where, I don't care where you are right now in your home, like in your home, or if you're at work or in your car, hundreds, thousands and thousands of mold spores are everywhere in your home. They're everywhere. You've got food for them everywhere. I mean, mold eats all kinds of things. It'll eat the food we eat. There are some molds that'll eat dust. There are some molds that eat wood. I mean, they have a very big laundry list of what they'll eat, the different molds. All right. So why isn't there mold growing over all of the surfaces of your home? Well, of course, it's dry. So you just got to keep it dry. So all you had to have done was get the daggone thing so no more water's coming inside. And then before the plumber and the electrician come and all the other people, spray all those areas that have mold on it, get rid of the mold, let it dry, which is, even if you have to rent one of those big, huge fans for a day or 2, get it to dry and you're done. So what a shame that you did not come to me, before you went to all the trouble of backing out of this new build. All right. So now you know. As to why the inspector passed it. Are you kidding me? We've covered this in earlier live streams. Maybe you weren't here. You just have to understand who the building inspectors are. Not all of them, not all, some. At least in Cincinnati, Ohio, many of the building inspectors were the builders that couldn't make it. All right. What's that tell you? All right. So I can't answer why they let it happen up in Ontario. You know, what a shame. Actually, I feel sorry for you. I'm sorry that happened to you. Steve, what are your thoughts on new housing construction in the future? Do you think there's too much bureaucracy with getting construction done? Time delays, plans, inspectors. I'm here in Los Angeles, 1940 three-bedroom home going for $1.5 million. Steve, I have a couple of really good friends of mine who live in Southern California. One's in Altadena, which is right there by Pasadena. He lives just above JPL. I have another really, really, really good friend who lives in Montrose, which is right there. You might know where that is. Montrose, La Cañada on the 210, right at the base of the San Gabriels. He's on the alluvial plain that comes out of the San Gabriels. He told my friend in Montrose, he's got a problem with a retaining wall. He had some contractors come out, and I know he wasn't telling me. I know he's telling me the truth. He said it would take no less than 9 permits to fix this retaining wall. And I said, well, I wouldn't do that. I would just get an excavator in the middle of the night at 3 a.m. Here's what I would do. And I explained to him, I would push it back into place. And by daybreak, when everybody wakes up and, rubs their eyes and gets the sand out of their eyes, the wall's magically fixed. You know what? I'm going to ask for permission, guys, sometimes. I hate to say that, but it's the truth. Now, that'll answer your one question. I think that there's this horrible trend to overregulation. And we're seeing it happen in other areas of our life right now. And Steve and I talk about this, and I try to stay away from it, but it's easy for me to fall off the rails. But all you have to do to understand this, and I just finished the last book last night. It took me like 6 months to read all 5 of them. It's thousands of pages. I finally finished book 5, Dance with Dragons in Game of Thrones. If you want to understand what is going on in the world right now, not only in the world, in your country, in your state, in your county, in your city, just go read book number 1 of the Game of Thrones. That's what's going on. In fact, I felt so strongly about that first quote, that the most powerful quote in the book, in my opinion, is when Queen Cersei, she says to Ned Stark, the protagonist, in book 1, she said, when you play the Game of Thrones, you win or you die. There is no middle ground. All right, think about that. That's how it used to be. And Steve, you know this to be fact. In the UK, in your history of your country, and it's same as right across the channel. I mean, all the whole, when kings and queens, how that all worked. Are you kidding? So anyway, that's happening. It's happening in our lives here in America, in the stupid building industry. All these stupid laws. It's bad. And here's your takeaway. I've talked about this in other live streams, and I keep going back to it. Steve, when was the last time in LA or in California, especially with your current governor, where there was a story on television, the television news, or in your newspapers, the LA Times, where it said, Governor Newsom repeals 1,000 laws? Or a similar story where the city of Los Angeles, the mayor, signed a proclamation today. He has repealed 1,000 laws. You've never seen that happen. All right, so that means that every time your governor or your state legislators or your building officials, whoever passes another law or another regulation, they take more and more of your freedom away. And eventually, here's my prediction to your point. This is like in regular life. I predict, this is actually, I read a story today about how bad your water situation is in California. I predict that within, 5 years, maybe 10, well, 10 years at least, maybe 5, you're going to have to go to a website and get permission to flush the toilet. You don't think that's possible? You watched that video today. I saw what's happening in Australia. That's the pathway we're headed down. So yeah, overregulation. I know that's a long-winded kind of event, but that's what happens here. All right, no problem, Will. So there's so anyway, yeah, I just want to make sure I answered all your question. Yeah, and all of that stuff, all of those regulations and bureaucracy, it adds to the cost you're paying for. It's just a hidden tax. It's a hidden tax to have more people in government. It's horrible. It's horrible. Here's how simple it could be. It could just be they could pass along to say, for you to get a certificate of occupancy, your house has to pass inspection by an ASHI inspector. Forget about Los Angeles having their own inspectors. So ASHI is an acronym that stands for American Society of Home Inspectors. Those are the best in the business. All right. And so if the builders knew that they had to satisfy the ASHI guys, everything would be done a lot better and it'd be done faster. And the ASHI guys would come through and say, you pass or you fail. None of this is hard. It's just that they're just trying to add more layers. They're just trying to take more of your freedom away. That's that simple. All right. Steve says, yes, my father had to go to councilman's office because water and power company were lagging weeks to complain directly to the councilman's office. Resolved 5 days later. Of course. That's called the Game of Thrones. That's what happens in the Game of Thrones. Oh my gosh. I got to get something to drink. An hour and 6 minutes. I hope you enjoy this as much as I do. I'm having a blast. We've got a light crowd today, but that's okay because people watch it afterwards. That's good. Okay. So if there's no more questions, I think I've been on long enough. If there's anything else you want me to comment on, I'll give you a minute to put it in the chat. Steve, hopefully you get the weekend off and have a great weekend over there in the UK. Will, Becky, Isaac, Steve, I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. It should be pretty good here. I've got a little bit of work to do. I'll probably have to help my daughter tomorrow do a lot of glazing, which I'm looking forward to. It's a lot of fun. You're welcome, Steve. It's just my opinion about what's going to happen. And you know what opinions are, right? You know what opinions are like. I say this all the time. I mean, first of all, you have to know the definition of the word of opinion. All right. So, and I feel opinions are like bringing a rubber knife to a gunfight. I mean, that's the last thing you want to have in a gunfight is a rubber knife. Becky, I don't feel like I answered your question. So you want to ask it to me again? You get 200 characters. Ask me what you want me to comment on about was she afraid or whatever, and I'll stay here and answer it. So I just didn't know what you were asking, So anyway, I think we're going to have some pretty good live streams next week. I have not yet at all decided on the topics. Steve, if you're still here, Steve, go to my Ask the Builder website and type in the search engine climate change. And there's a lot of this continental glaciation stuff I talked about. I've already got it on my website, and I've got some really great photos and great maps and all kinds of really cool stuff. So just go read that page I created about climate change. I don't know, Will. Well, I'm going to get the front porch ready. I have to go out. I always struggle to do this. The place I normally buy from, they closed. They're not open this year. I don't know why. Well, who knows why? It could be all kinds of reasons. But Kathy always likes, we've got these big pots by the front door, and she wants me to get these like small Christmas trees. In other words, it'd be the same as if you just cut off the top 3 feet of a Christmas tree. So just imagine doing that, the top 3 feet. And we put them in these pots. I put some colored lights around those trees, around the door, and on the window box underneath the kitchen window. So that's the extent of our Christmas decorations. I live down on a whole, like if you were to come to my home and drive here, you'd get to the cul-de-sac and you can't even really see my house. I mean, you can, if you crane your head or look kind of one way. You kind of look down the driveway and you can see the roof of the house, but that's it. So no one sees our Christmas decorations. The only thing I do is I put up, I didn't tell you about this. I last year, my daughter asked me to put up some colored Christmas lights on the railing of our deck, because at least the people across the lake, they can see our Christmas lights, which they must look pretty cool. I'm going to drive over there tomorrow night and look at them. But anyway, I put up, so last year I had put up some Christmas lights, and then all of a sudden one of the strands went dead. And I just thought, and so I went and checked the plug and it was fine. I didn't bother to inspect the line. And then finally in the spring, a squirrel had chewed through the flipping through the electric wires of the Christmas lights, and broke the circuit. So I get some new ones, back in September. I saw they were putting them on display. I wanted to get them early. So I bought 6 boxes. I bought 6. Actually, some of the ones behind me, I don't have them plugged in today. What an idiot. Anyway, I buy these new lights. I put 3 more strands on the deck. And I noticed a week ago, half of them aren't working. The flipping squirrels have chewed through the wires again. Are you kidding me? What is going on? What are these squirrels chewing the electric wires? Yes. Oh, that's a good idea, Steve. I'll do that this weekend. I'll put the YouTube thing right here. That's a good idea. That's a great idea. Becky's got a smiley face. All right. Okay. So Steve, go, because you got here a little late, go back to askthebuilder.com, type climate change into the search engine, read away, man. You're going to love it. You're going to love that page. That's all I can tell you. So, okay, I'm going to get out of here. Thanks so much for watching. It was a really kind of an unusual live stream. Not a whole lot of building and remodeling information, but that's okay. So we cut back to our 200 cats. Yeah, exactly. The cats. We've got indoor cats too. And they love, the one cat loves taking stuff off the tree. All right. So anyway, have a great weekend. Thank you for being here, part of the stream. I really appreciate you being here. It means a lot to me. And I feel like you and I are already friends, and that's a wonderful feeling to have. So thanks again. And Becky, thanks for that ice cream cone. I really appreciate it. Okay. I will take the weekend. I'm not going to work too hard this weekend. And I will be back on Monday for sure. The good Lord willing, as long as I'm on this side of the grass, or this time of year, I'd say as long as I'm on this side of the snow. All right. Thanks a lot for being here. I'll be here. I'll be here on Monday. I'm sure. I hope. I better be.